Hello and welcome back. My name is Anthony Manuel. This time around, I'm going to teach you about web form. Web form is a kind of very useful part of Frappe that enables you to, create a forms that can be filled by users externally. Then you get the information about whatever was filled in back to your database. Now, web form could be as normal as the contact us form in Frappe. So I can use this to show you that contact. Yeah, this is an example of a web form. You have this, and this. Once you fill it and send, the message gets sent to somebody. But how do you kind of create your own web form and how do you build that? So in this tutorial series, you're going to look how going to see how to create a web form, and please do subscribe to this video tutorial so you can get a latest update when available. First off, you go into your system or your desk page and you can locate web form or use the awesome bar to locate the web form if you don't know how to go about it from here. I myself is not a fan of the side menu. I just come straight to the awesome bar. It gives you whatever you want. You type web form. Now you see already made web form that is available by default. You can look at it to see how the web form is created and at the same time create your own. But in this, we are going to create our own web form to see how it works. Now you see all these options and some others. So I'm going to create a fresh web form to show you how everything works. First, I'm going to add new web form, select the title, call it agent form. I'm kind of making use of my estate app. So I'm going to use the agent doc type to create the form, agent form. So you can as well change this route or give it any other thing you want. Then I'm going to select the doc type as agent. Then the module should be my app so that the web form folders can be created inside my app. Then you have these options: is standard, published, login allowed. I'm going to make it in standard, so this will not be stored in the database, rather it will be stored inside my app. Then published. Published means that it should be available for use by users. Login, it should login be required for a user or anyone can fill it. Then document permission, if the users that to fill it has no meaning that this must require login anyway. Then allow to print, but for the now I'm going to ignore this and check these two options. Next, you have this information. In this introduction is any information you enter here will definitely be visible on the web page. I'm going to just type something here. Hello agent form. Next up are the fields. Now, if for instance you do not select a doc type, which definitely you should, you can as well add fields. It could be the field belonging to the doc type, or you can add your own fields to it. Fields is more like creating a doc type. It's kind of show what do you want to be displayed on this page that users can fill in information on. So I'm going to get the fields from my agent doc type by clicking on this get fields. Once you click on this will be automatically fields. Then one other thing that you can as well add an extra field if you like. There's the field actually often, since it's the type is selected, will be based on what you have on the doc type. So I'm going to get rid of this now. Then if you, for the fact that there's an attachment here, so it's asking what is the maximum amount of megabytes you want each of the attachments to be. Yeah, I can put it as 5 megabytes. 5, it should be in because it's in MB, but I'm not really interested in the upload. Now, this client script has to do with the JavaScript, the behavior of the form. Then the CSS has to do with if you want to change the styling of the display, the form display. Then these other actions, what happens maybe when you save this form, do you want any message to display? and where do you want the form to redirect to any URL. You feed it in here. Then this sidebar is the menu you want. If you want some kind of menu to show on the left sidebar, you can add it here, but I'm not really interested in that. I'm more interested in the functionality of the form, how to code the web form. Then if any payment is to be attached and some other information, breadcrumbs. Okay, I'm fine with this. I'm going to save this web form. Once saved, you will find the a folder in your estate. Here I have my estate app and the module estate. Inside it, you find that the folder has been created called web form. And inside that form, you find the agent form we just created. See the name agent form. If you open the folder, you find three files. This is regular Python files. You find a JavaScript file, a JSON file. This JSON contains the complete information about this form, the configuration information, and the Python. This has to do with the web server functionality. So we are going to go into it one by one and see how we can, custom code our web form to behave the way we want it to. First off, I'm going to open my editor using Atom. And right in my bench in the app directory, type atom dot. Okay, that will be atom dot. So I have my Atom editor opened. Then I have estate app, going to the app itself, the module, web forms, and the agent form itself. First thing I'm going to find here is the agent form.js. Now, when you open it, you find this, should I call it a kind of skeleton for you to work with. Next up, you have the JSON configuration, which you have no business there. Then the server part of it. Now, I'm going to start with the server. This agent form.py behaves more like the normal Frappe portals. First, we're going to open up this form. Form is agent form. Now, the first thing we are going to do is to work around this form. First off, the interface isn't really looking this nice. You can see the email just spread down to the end of the screen. Same for other fields. It's just a kind of a very straight line. It's not really well positioned. First off is to kind of align this side by side. Email to the left, agent to the right, phone to the left, and image attached to the right. So we can do that from the web form. Reload the web form, then come into the web form, add column break, and drag it in between this email and agent, sorry, between agent and phone, then to this other will be, okay, sorry, this email and agent will be to the left, phone and image should be to the right. Then we can use a section break here, save. So this will style the form, two to the left, two to the right. Now you see the email and agent to the left, the phone and image attached to the right. First, as we are done with um the styling. Now, how about working writing the Python functionality of the code? First off is I'm going to change this title from the server side, and record that I type something hello agent form, and here is the hello agent form. That is the introduction part. Whatsoever you type in here, you can type in HTML and you still get it. I have to use H1. It could just be a description about the form, and that will be displayed at the very top of the form. Okay, that did not work. This is probably what you see is what you get editor. So I did that wrongly. Should have done it this way. Get rid of this. Bold this. Okay, that's all about that. Now for the other part is changing this form title here, or the title we have here. So we can work like regular Frappe portal. From the documentation we have, scroll down frappeframework.com/doc. Down here under portal you have web form, and first I'm going to work on the Python part, and that works like just exactly like the Frappe portal. Okay, in Frappe portals you have several configurations you can add to the Python aspect of the code. So you have some things you can add to context or title, and several other things. You can see some configurations you can do. So let's try to play with that. First, I'm going to work on the title. I'm going to work on context or title, agent application. So I'm going to save that or reload first to see the changes. No changes right here. So the first thing I can do is to restart the server, and that should pretty much reload. Now you see the title has changed to agent application. You can add other things relating to portal pages like show sidebar. I'm going to add that show sidebar, context dot show sidebar equal to 1. What other option can we add? Can add several other options to it. Let me look for one more. No breadcrumb, add breadcrumb. Okay, let's just add this. Okay, in essence, you can do pretty much most things you do in a web form by adding your, you can add method here to do one or two things, just like a web form. The only difference here between a web portal and a web form is that you don't have an HTML page, something like agent underscore form.html. But every other thing is here. But you can try to play with that to see what you get from it. But we're going to go back to the other side of the page and see the results. Now you see that the side menu is showing already because we added this show side menu. I did not look. Let me look. Okay, here we have the breadcrumb at the top, the site name, contact, block product, and some other things at the very top. But for the fact that we are working with agent form, I wouldn't want this to show, so I'm just gonna get rid of this. So that's it with the website of it. You can do whatever you want to do. Next, I'm going to jump into the JavaScript part of things, writing some functionalities that kind of sometimes filter, validate, or makes your form behave just the way you want it. First off, I'm going to play around with some JavaScript content here. But the first thing here is to try to play directly with this page from the console. So you can open your browser console from the right side of your screen. I'm going to play the content. First of what I want to do is change this using JavaScript directly. You can right click on this, inspect element, then look at the div. So the div here is page header. So I'm going to grab that console. That will be dot using a document object model. dot I have to call it um inner inner HTML is assigned new agents form. Okay, that did not work. I might have to add the first element. Okay, so we have a change here. So I can use the direct JavaScript to change it. Document.query selector. Now you see it changed. How about adding a kind of a class to this or a style? Since it's an inner HTML, I can actually give it a styling h1 class equal to um text dash danger. To make it red, close this. Now we have this new agent form, so we can actually directly manipulate what we have on the screen. Then how about communicating with what we have here, this email? I can grab this. How about checking up the email? So the email is in an input form with a data dash field of data dash field name of email. So I might have to grab this or grab everything. Come back to the console. Document.query selector. That to be inputs of equals to email. You can see we are actually able to grab the form here. That's brought the entire form data out. We can change the value of the data dot value tests at mail.com. Now you see we can actually manipulate the content of the form, but I'm not going to do it vanilla this way. I'm going to use the regular Frappe bindings and features here. So first off is I'm going to copy out this here so that whenever the page loads, I get this. Now this one that was automatically generated by Frappe for you should be your base. Everything, every part of your code should go in here. And if it doesn't go in here, you definitely won't get your code working. So first, I have to make this title. Like I should break this down. Okay. I can actually reload this and it still retains this styling. Now you see with the page fully reloaded, you see the styling is actually maintained. How about making sure that every other thing works perfectly apart from this we have in here? I can actually print something also dot log. I'm going to pass something to this function, give it e. So I'm trying to check if something will be printed. Okay, no event was passed. That's how we got this undefined printed. So that's fine. Next off, we are going straight into the features provided by Frappe. And we have a web form from the documentation. If you read through the web form, you get Frappe provides an easy way to generate forms for your website with very little configuration. This form may be public or whatever. Now, you have several other things you can do after creating the form. You have this event handler, right? An event handler to do actions when a field is changed. This has to do with you kind of changing some values. Let's say you kind of entered an email here and you want to kind of be sure that something is right. Okay, if I type this hello, see this, I type anything as phone number and anything as agent name and save, this form gets saved. You see your information has been submitted, meaning that something is actually wrong. This is not a valid email address. You can also check that in our agent.type. You find out the validation did not go through. Okay, I think I have a little issue. Let me see why. Not type only has no attributes. Guess I might have to reload agent. Now you see the agent that was just added and you can see the email. It just said hello. There was no validation. So how do we try to kind of validate what's fed in by the user? That's what we're going to do just right now. And here is the format. You can easily grab this to validate the form. Here the field name is email. You can as well reference the field name if you don't know it from here. You can see the field name, email, agent name, phone number, image. That's email. Field name, email. Handler here is a JavaScript method. Now your method can take in two value. First is the field you're working with, and second is the value in that field. What I right now I just want to console.log both the field and the value once an email is entered before we go into filtration, um, checking that the email is correctly filled in. Okay, form fully loaded. So first off is I'm going to clear this so we can see what's happening. Now I type email, hello. This should print. If it doesn't print, then I think I see undefined. Check that again. Okay, it's not working properly. Go to check why. Okay, something funny is really going on, but I think that is kind of inside this. If you scroll down here, you find something called afterloads. Yeah, so we're gonna grab this afterloads. Come in here. Here's the afterloads. Then every other script or information should come inside this afterload. What this afterload does is whenever the script loads or the page loads, it kind of prepare the form for you to do some kind of things. First, we are going to test our afterload by commenting this out and consoling something to the screen. Let's see E console.log. So this is all. They have the after load event, and once this page loads completely, we just throw this in front of the screen and print some kind of stuff. Event. Trying to tap into an event, if an event can come in through here. Okay, the page is loading, so let's see what happens once it's fully loads. Now you see this loaded. You see a message printed here, one. Then we had something printed there. You see the events we wrote. Then the E, nothing came in through the E, so we can get rid of that E because nothing came in through it. Now we are sure our form is kind of working, our scripting is working. Next, I'm going to console or comment this line of code out. This line, I told you what it does. Once a change is made in the email, something happens, it picks the field and the value comes in here and prints the fields to us. I'm going to save this form and reload. Okay, we're going to kind of watch this right side of the screen to see what happens. So I type email test. Now you see something printed here. You see what's printed, the entire form content printed out. You see that here. And where did this print? This first one, fields. Then the value also printed test. Okay, test@mail.com. Once you leave, you see it prints out. So I'm going to leave the field itself. I don't think I have anything to do with that field. You see the input area and the text content. So I might have to leave it out. So this is how it works. You have your Frappe page auto-generated. If it was not auto-generated, you can create a JavaScript file. Then inside of it, you have this ready function. Then you have this after loads. Inside the after loads, you can embed your JavaScript functionality. First thing I'm going to do is validate this email. Now I might just have to let this um okay. Now I do quick, just very fast validation. It's not a complete one. If value, if not value dot contain includes at. If there is no at in the email field, then we can frappe.msg. Once the email is entered, fed in, and changed, it checks if there's an at in the email field. If there's no at, it just try and say invalid email. Okay, I'm going to test that. Okay, we did not get it through. We had an error in our code. That is this not. I have to check where the not. I think the not is wrongly placed. I have to place the not inside here. Okay, we just have to check that there's no error in the code. Okay, so reference error. This okay. I was trying to add some kind of translation, but let me get rid of the translation first. So we'll talk about the translation later. think this translation has to be double rather than single. It should be double. I remember it very well. Test. Now you see, it says invalid email because there was no at in that email. How about add at? But this is still not a good validation. You see, it works, but at least you can see how you add validation. You see that. Now, how about doing final validation during, because right now if you try to submit this form, it still submit with this. If I try to save this, I might have to save that. It may just ask me for the agent name since it's a required field. You can check through the form. You see that this agent is kind of required, though from the doc type itself is a required field. You can expand it to see more. You see it's mandatory here. So I might add agent as test. If I save, click on this save, it definitely saves. Despite that, it threw the error first time. You see that now it's still saved. So how about final validation? You can check through this web form. There is a sample for validation. Yeah, this is kind of validation sample that you can use. You can grab this entire validation, copy, record that it should be inside this after loads, else your code would not work. Okay, is frappe.webform.validate. Now, what are we validating? This let data we pull the entire data from the form. It's going to pull the entire data. So first, I'm going to print the entire content of the form. No amount here, so I might get some error here. I'm just going to get rid of this. Get rid of this. Save. Reload. Okay, we have just reloaded the form. So we're going to test out the form. What we did was, tell the system to print this form validation. We grab the entire form once save is clicked, print the entire form content. So we're going to test that out here. Let's type hello. Let's see, be sure that that validator is still working. Then test agent. Phone number. You can write your own phone validator. I'm not interested in email. Save. Now you see the entire form content printed before us. You can see the agent name, test agent, the email hello, and phone number. This right in front of us. And that's exactly what we printed here. We use this let data frappe away from the get values to grab the entire form data and console it. Now this return false was what made us get this error here. You can see it here. So if you have any validation, just like the email validation, you can easily write out if data dot email dot includes at, that is not, then frappe dot message print please enter a valid email. Save and test that. Okay, the both fields are required. Hello, agent, and save. Now I said please enter a valid email because of this validator. Now, how about this um, email is correct? How about the email is correct at mail.com? Now, you're still getting the same error. You can't actually leave this. So, how do we go about this? Having to, you know, be able to successfully go through this page. All you just have to do is add return true here, return true. Mean that if here doesn't execute, if everything goes well here, should tell it to return true. And once it sees this value true, it will continue with its execution. So you can try that. Okay, the validation kicked in. And what about this? Your information has been saved. Why? Because I returned true just under here. You can check what was submitted in the agent list. Now you see a correct value was sent in. You can see test@mail.com, God's agent, and a phone number. A recap of this, we have the Frappe web portal, we have the Python part, that is the web server part where it just works like your normal Frappe portals. Then we have the JavaScript part, and inside the JavaScript, you write all your code inside this and inside afterloads. Once you do that, you can begin to write each of the block of codes you want to work with your form. Now, one thing you still have to discover is that we are not just limited to this. You can actually write something that calls an API in this form. Maybe you can as well fetch data that automatically fills the content of this form from an external environment, will be an external database. So that's just it. I hope you kind of pick or grab something from this form. And please do like, subscribe, and drop your question in the comment box below. Thank you.